Hi Gemini, welcome to Yellow Cardinal Tarot with me. My name is Carol, and this is going to be a mid-month check-in reading for you for July 2025. And so for the next 2 weeks, I want to look at a pattern that's showing up for you, and it's going to be a pattern that's showing up for healing. And this is going to be a general reading. So I want you to take what resonates with you and leave the rest. And patterns are very important for our own healing journey because it's kind of the universe's way of waking us up and kind of telling us, you know, this is something you need to look at because it's coming up for healing. And it's something that has been here before. It could be a relationship issue that you're having. You know, even when you find that, you change jobs and you find that you're attracting the same types of people all the time, and you can't understand why are these people pissing me off all the time, why, you know, and maybe you have people in your life, toxic people that keep showing up, and you can't understand, you know, in your relationships why you're being rejected or why you're being treated that way. And so these patterns are so important because it's a way of us to know what we need to heal, because oftentimes we can say, well, I don't know where to start. Well, just look at your patterns. That's one way to start. Besides, your triggers will tell you as well what you need to heal. So in today's reading, I'm going to be using the Curious Travels Tarot deck. I'm also going to be clarifying with the Radiant Rider-Waite. So let's get started by looking at a pattern that's showing up in your life, Gemini, in the next couple of weeks that you need to look at. Oh, and here it is right away. You have the Knight of Swords. Interesting card that's coming out for you. Now, we're going to look at what aspect of your shadow is driving this pattern. Now, believe it or not, it is your shadow, your unconscious. You know, those things that you've pushed away when you were younger, our memories, our trauma, our big emotions when we were younger. We push all that away and it comes up for healing, right? It comes to the surface and it shows up in patterns because our patterns, or our shadow is what manifests, you know, most of these patterns. I'm going to say almost all of them that are showing up in our life. It's like, this is what you need to heal. And so what is it in our shadow right now that's driving or having the biggest impact on this this pattern? Because there's something here that is coming up for healing for you, Gemini. So give me one card, please. One card for Gemini. Your shadow. Okay, you have the Four of Pentacles. I was saying in my last reading that I just got a kitten who's 6 months old. And I'm trying to do, yours is actually the last reading I'm doing. And I'm trying to get these readings done, sneak them in. It's really hot in this room, so I can't close my door. I have the windows open, but the cat's coming in, and it had left in my last reading. Was like, oh, I'm trying not to pay attention, but he just walked in again. So he's sort of looking at, he's playing with the curtain. So okay, I thought he was going to start to chew on a cord or something. Because this is my office, so I have a lot of cords in here. But, so if you see me kind of getting distracted, I apologize, but I will focus on your reading. So what advice does the tarot have for you? I thought there was a card that was going to come. What advice does the tarot have for Gemini? How they can begin to heal this pattern. Oh, I'm going to say I'm going to pick this one. I won't pick these two. So you have the Queen of Pentacles here that showed up. I'm not sure if I said you had the Four of Pentacles here in reverse when I was talking about my cat. All right, oh, he's laying there. He's good. He's quiet for now. Okay, so Knight of Swords. Couple cards. Yeah, I would invite him up on the table, but it's like he's a kitty, so he's a kitten and he has to touch everything. Knight of Swords. couple cards for the Knight of Swords. Wow, usually I get something out by now. All right, Knight of Swords, couple cards. There we go, and there's one. And it came out in a very fancy way. One more card to go along with that one. Oh, here we go. Okay, so you got the Devil card in reverse. King of Cups in reverse, and then the Strength card. Now, Four Pentacles. Couple cards for the Four Pentacles. You have the Lovers card and the Sun card. Two major arcana cards here for you. Lots of energy going on. I think we're okay with the cat. Oh, there he is. One day I'll show him to you. Queen of Pentacles. He's very cute. Here's one. Oh, there, you just heard me out. You have the Knight of Cups. Maybe he wants to be shown now. You want to come up? Here. Maybe they want, oh, he ran away. Okay, Knight of Cups. Next one. Another card. Here we go. And we have the Ace of Swords. All right. You can sort of already see where this is going for you, Gemini. So you start off with the pattern that's showing up is this Knight of Swords. I love this depiction of this Knight of Swords. I mean, look at the fierceness in him. You know, and the knights in my deck represent, I call them my freedom fighters. They're this part of you. It's an adolescent part. Think of an adolescent that wants nothing more than to be authentic. They want to be themselves. They're like fighting for their authenticity, fighting for, you know, they don't want to be controlled. They don't want to feel their pain. They just want to be free. And this is the part of you that is pulling you. This sword represents your sword of truth, your sword of authenticity. There's a part of you that's saying, I want to find out, you know, who am I? Who am I really? And that's where it starts off with your reading, is this whole thing about something, this inner drive that's pulling you towards your authentic self. And it's interesting because you end with an Ace of Swords, right? And we'll talk about that. But I think there's some things under here, because I just saw the Devil card here. I think, you know, let's talk about the Devil card before I get going. But the Devil card speaks about, in an upright position, it's a card that talks about our attachments. The things that we're attached to that actually will numb out our pain. And so there are addictions. And I'm guilty of having addictions. I think every single person on this planet has some sort of addiction or addictions that we use to just numb out our pain so we don't feel. But this is in reverse here. So I'm wondering if you've come to a point where you realize, you know, underneath all that, I mean, I think you've been for a while trying to numb out this pain, but there's this part of you now that's saying, no, I want to go towards, almost like going towards your pain, going towards what it is that this pain is. Because if I go towards that pain and, you know, go towards maybe looking at healing what it is, trying to figure out what it is, that's going to bring you closer to who you are, your authentic self. But you've got something that's blocking this. And this is your King of Cups. And the King in my deck talks about, you have a Queen coming up, and you have a Knight here. So you have a King, and then there's a Queen over here. So the Kings in my deck represent our ego self. That's our masculine side. And then we have a feminine side. That's our queens. We all have it, a masculine and a feminine side. It has nothing to do with our gender. Your ego self is a very, very scared part. And so it's the one that comes out and it'll block you from doing any of this, like this work. So you have your knight up here that's saying, you know, I want to go towards my authenticity. I want to find out, you know, what this pain is about, what these emotions are about. And this ego, the ego self is coming out and going, don't you dare go towards your emotions, because the ego self is petrified of emotions. It wants nothing to do with emotions. It wants status quo. It's all about safety. It's a part that came out when we were really young, and it protected us, and it pulled us up out of our body where our emotions are, and it would have brought us up in our head, and it, you know, wants you to stay in your head. It does not want you to feel any of your emotions that are in your body. And so maybe you're feeling a lot of anxiety, because when you have this part that wants to go towards your authenticity and feel maybe some of these emotions, or figure out what this pain is that you're trying to, you know, go towards, that you've been numbing out, your ego self will go, you know, come out and block it. And so that can cause a lot of anxiety in us. And the last card that comes out is a strength card. And I'm glad that this card came out, because I felt a lot of like the knight, with the knight and the king, and then, you know, that whole attachment, addiction stuff. I thought, well, this is kind of heavy for you. But then the strength card comes out and it says, you know what, Gemini, you have the strength to do this. I know that we feel like we can't do this, but this is the card that says you have the inner strength. And I always look at this card as, you see how she's pulling the cracking open the mouth of that lion, feeling no fear. It's like when we decide to open up that Pandora's box of emotions and we close it and we go, I can't do this. And I don't know how many times I've heard people say, like, oh my God, I tried to open it up and there's no way. I can't. I'm so petrified to even look at those emotions. Well, you know who that petrified part is that doesn't want you to open up that Pandora's box or that lion's mouth, that says you close that right back up? That's your ego self. That's the part of you that's, you know, our adult self, our real self, our true self doesn't want this. Our true self wants to heal, wants to go towards those emotions. And so that's where you're sitting for these next 2 weeks in July. Maybe there's going to be a lot of anxiety, but you remember, it's that battle of your parts. Part of you wanting to go, and another, your ego self going, no. And then we're torn. It's like, ah! And so what's coming up from your shadow? What's having the most impact on this? Well, you have the Four of Pentacles here. And it's in reverse, because I think this individual, this card right here, the Four of Pentacles, when it's not in your shadow, it talks about someone that's holding on to their material stuff, holding on to, very attached to, you know, anything that's material, money, anything to do with material, but your material world. But because it's in your shadow, this tells me that as a child, you know, as a child, we're supposed to be allowed to attach on to things, hold on to things for support, for security. As a child, you lost that. You lost anything that, there was something when you were younger where you lost that ability to be able to attach on to something. And so I'm seeing here there's maybe some attachment issues or some abandonment issues that are coming up for you, that are coming up for healing. And that would involve huge emotions. And as an adult, you're being asked right now to feel these, right? To open up that Pandora's box of a time when you were younger. Could have been like a period of time when you realized that, you know what, you didn't have the support, and there was some sort of rejection, some sort of abandonment there for you. And I think it's time now, that's for you know, to heal that, start to heal it. Well, when you were younger, you have this Lover's card that comes right underneath this attachment, this abandonment, rejection, maybe. And it's interesting. It's an interesting card to come out in your shadow. It's got a lot to this card. Normally, it's a card about choice. And as a youngster, you would have had that choice too, right? And so it talks about here's our feminine side again, and here's our masculine side that I talked about. And so this masculine looks straight ahead. He's not even looking towards the feminine. He's just looking straight ahead. That's our ego. And then you have this feminine side who looks up to the divine, and she gets all her wisdom, her knowing, her intuition comes from the divine. That's the feminine side we have. And so when it comes in a reading, it's usually saying, you have a choice to go inwards, right? And so when you were younger, because you lost something, whether it was somebody rejected you, or when you lost that ability to remain attached to something or supported or validated, you also lost that ability to, and I'm going to say go inwards, but what that means is you lost that ability to be in your body, to feel these big emotions. You couldn't. You weren't in a safe place, because we need to feel connected to somebody, feel supported, validated, in order to feel these big emotions, especially when things happen to us. And you lost that ability. And there's another major arcana card that tells me what you lost as well when you were a child. You lost your joy. You lost pure joy. I call this your passion, your joy. It's a lot of times it's like your reason for existing. That think of a child when I see them on the beach and they're playing in the sand and they're running around. They're just in pure ecstasy as a child. Well, you lost that. You lost that when you were younger. And so there's a real part of you. And when you lost that, you really lost yourself. And that's what this Knight of Swords is. It's like, it's time to get back to, who was that person before this all happened to you? Because this is all coming up for healing the emotions you would have felt when you were younger. And so what's the advice from the tarot? Well, you have the Queen of Pentacles in reverse. And remember, there's a few cards that came out with this, and I said, well, this is the card that was an important one. It's very important for you. Here's the feminine side to you. And the feminine side, in an upright position, the Queen of Pentacles, look at her beautiful gold pentacle, how it shines. That's her body. And she loves it. She cherishes it. She lives from her body. The feminine side is the part of us that's very grounded, very connected to the pentacle, the earth element. And she's here to remind you that you have this body. We have from the neck down, this is our body. All of us tend to live in our head. This is our ego self. But we have a body, and we need to get in that. We need to start living from that. She's in reverse, which tells me that, maybe you feel, because of this anxiety as well that might be going on, maybe, she can feel quite depressed because she's been, here for so long. This part of us that's really repressed in all of us, she's been here for so long, and she's trying to get your attention. She's trying to tell you, to get back in your body and start to feel some of these big emotions that you couldn't feel when you were younger. So she's a little bit, she can get quite depressed. She can also get angry, because she's been trying so hard. So maybe you get angry at people. You got this ungrounded anger at, you get angry at the wrong people in the wrong time. And so these are a couple emotions that can come out. But she's here to tell you, it's time to get back into your body, to get grounded into your body. Learn how to ground yourself, because you have the Knight of Cups that comes up here. And so here's another one of your freedom fighters, right? That adolescent party that wants to be free. There's a part of you that wants to have the freedom to have authentic relationships. But in order to start to have authentic relationships with people, so you don't have the same types of people showing up in your life that maybe reject you, because that's a wound you have that needs healing. And so this is the part that wants to pull you towards your true self, towards your having authentic relationship in your life. And that's what's sitting here underneath this queen, wants you to get grounded. And then you have the final Ace of Swords, right? You started off with the Knight, who wants to pull you towards your authenticity. And so what is the gift or the offer from the universe? Beautiful. Is this Ace of Swords. It's your sword of authenticity. It's your sword of truth. And it's like, are you going to take up this sword? Are you going to take this sword from the universe and say, yeah, I want to get back to who I am. I want to find out, what is this hurt? What is this hurt? Maybe you know what it is, but now you're going to feel it. You're going to feel the big emotions. There's a lot of grief there. There's a lot of shame, a lot of fear, a lot in there that needs to be felt. But it's okay. You have the strength. You can do this, Gemini. You got this. You have the strength. So I want you to have compassion for yourself for what you're working through. This is a very difficult journey, the healing journey, but it's the most important one in your life. And so take care. I'm going to leave you with your July 2025 reading that I did for you as well. And I'll talk to you next month. Bye-bye.